Hey y'all, in this lesson we're going to take a look at analyzing linear equations. Before we looked at y equals mx, now we're going to look at the form y equals mx plus b. Our essential question is, what is the equation for a line for a non-proportional relationship? Remember, proportional relationships were just the part of y equals mx. Now we're looking at non-proportional. By the end of this lesson, we want to be able to say, I can graph a line from an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b, and I can write an equation that represents a given graph of a line. Much like how we found the slope in order to write proportional relationships, we will continue to find the slope to write the equation for any linear relationship. However, we must also incorporate the y-intercept, since for non-proportional relationships, it's not 0. So here is an example of writing an equation from a graph. If we have a saltwater solution, so think of a liquid, and it's cooled down to -6 degrees Celsius, during the experience it's slowly heated back up. We can write an equation to represent the temperature after so many minutes of being heated. So we can see on our graph here, at the start time it's at -6 degrees. On our graph, as we move over in minutes, we've gone over 1, 2, 3 minutes, we've gone up 6 degrees. So we have our rise of 6 and a run of 3. Now, because the slope is 2, 6 divided by 3 is 2, because the slope is 2, we're going to start writing our equation, y equals 2x, just like before. Now that equation would work if our starting point was 0. But the starting point of this graph is actually -6, the y-intercept. So in this case, we need to take that y equals 2x and subtract 6 to bring it down. So our equation we're going to write is simply that, y equals 2x minus 6. This equation is in slope-intercept form. We call it slope-intercept form because we use the slope and we use the y-intercept. It's referred to as y equals mx plus b. In this case, m is the slope like before, and it is 2. And b is the y-intercept, which is -6, which is why we have -6. Let's look at graphing a linear equation. In example 2, I'm asked to graph the equation y equals -4x plus 3. I'll use that same idea from before, where the y-intercept is 3 because it is plus 3. I'm going to put a point at 0, 3. So on my graph, 0, 3. Put my point. Then the slope is -4 because that's my m. My number attached to x is -4. So a slope of -4 or any whole number really is that number over 1. So -4 over 1, this tells me that the line will go down 4 and right 1. So from this point, I go 1, 2, 3, 4 down and 1 over. I put another point there, and it is at 1, -1. Now you could repeat this as many times as you needed to continue going down 4 and right 1, but you only need 2 points to make a line. So from here, I graph my line by connecting the 2 points. So I take my y-intercept, the number added at the end, put a point there. Then I use my slope telling me what to do up, down, left, right, up, down, right, to get a second point. Then I connect them with a line. Here are 2 for you to try now. Again, go back and watch any part of the video if you need to see it again. But in this first one, I want you to write the equation for the line. And in the second one, I give you an equation and I want you to draw the graph. Pause the video now. Do these 2 problems and press play to see the answer. The answers in these 2 problems. What is an equation for this line? Well, this line is going to be y equals, the slope here is down 1, right 2, so that's -1/2 x. And the y-intercept is at 2, so we'll have plus 2. So y equals -1/2 x plus 2. For the equation here, we're starting down at -5 is our y-intercept, and our slope tells us go up 1 and right 3. So up 1 and right 1, 2, 3. I can again go up 1 and right 1, 2, 3, and continue doing that. So here you see I have my point there, and my line continues. Here's my point. Here's my point. Okay, so that is the answer for those two. Let's take a look at a word problem. So how we might take a word problem and use these ideas. A middle school student council is organizing a dance and has $500 to pay for a DJ. DJ Dave will charge $200 for a setup fee and the first hour. Or he'll charge $425 for a setup fee and 4 hours. How can the student council determine whether they can afford to have him play for 5 hours? So the question is, how much does he cost for 5 hours? We know for 1, we know for 4, how much for 5? So we can plot the points for his total at 1 hour, which is 200, and 4 hours, which is 425, about halfway from 400 up to the next line. This then gives us a line we can find the equation of. So we're going to find the initial value, or y-intercept, and we're going to do that using the slope. So when we have the slope here, we're going to go over 3 hours and up $225. So to find the slope, we got to take $225 divided by 3 hours. 225 divided by 3 ends up being 75. So our slope is 75, or $75 per hour is what he's charging. Now we got to find that y-intercept, or what is his cost just to set up do a setup. Well, we know his first one was 1 hour is $200. So if we subtract off that hour of playtime, 200 minus 75 is going to give us $125. So he charges $125 just for setting up, and then $75 an hour. So we can use our y-intercept and our slope to write the equation of y equals 75x plus 125. This helps us because now we can plug in 5 hours and see if it meets or falls under our budget of $500. So here's our equation. We're going to plug in 5 for x. 75 times 5 is 375, plus 125 is 500. So the total cost for 5 hours would be $500, which is exactly our budget. So the student council can afford DJ Dave. One more for you to try. Write the equation using this graph. You can see the kind of slope triangles there to help you figure out the rise and the run. And the y-intercept of this one is pretty easy. Pause the video now, fill in your notes, and press play when you're ready to see the answer. For this one, the y-intercept of the line is at 2, and the slope here looks like it goes up 3 and right 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would do 3 over 4 is the slope. The y-intercept is 2. So this is y equals 3 over 4x plus 2. Summarizing this lesson, the equation of a line that represents a non-proportional relationship can be written in the slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So this is very important that you know that y equals mx plus b, and you know that m is just the number that is the slope, and b is just the number that is the y-intercept. Your next steps are to submit your 5.5 notes, complete your 5.5 practice, and take your 5.5 mastery check. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next lesson.